So the knee issue is, I went back to the doctor. Well, first of all, the hopefulness was kind of short-lived. I got the cortisone shot, which I had an allergic reaction to. And it didn't even really help the pain. Like, it helped for like a day or two. I was sort of like, oh, this is great. Like, it kind of helped, but then all of a sudden my face just got super flushed and I was nauseous, and I had a reaction to it. It didn't really help with the pain. I went back to see him. I called him. He's like, come in, let's talk. So I went in, and there is arthritis in there. It's not like there's not arthritis in there. I'm kind of in this purgatory where he's like, look, I could, he's very cautious about surgery. He's like, I could go in there and try to fix this meniscus situation, but it's not going to be it's not like your life, it's not going to fix everything guaranteed. And then you have this arthritis, but it's not bad enough yet to do a knee replacement. So, and I can't do, he's like, and you can never have another cortisone shot in your life because your next reaction could be worse. So let's try physical therapy and see how it goes.
Sounds like that's the way it is.
Yeah. And so I'm kind of in this in-between stage, and then, he didn't fat shame me at all or even bring up my weight at all. In fact, I ended up bringing it up.
Of course you did. Please tell me I should lose weight. Because it's medical, right?
Well, at first it was just, I don't know, I guess I'm just always like, I felt like, is this the elephant in the room? Pardon the pun.
Well, that's what you were thinking, right?
I think. I don't know. I was sort of like, okay, look, I said, I appreciate you not fat shaming me, but, obviously there's fat on my body. It's not a dirty word. And he was like, yeah, whatever.
Like so?
And I was like, okay, so am I supposed to feel bad and think I need to lose weight?
Do you hear what you're saying to me right now? It's funny.
I know. I'm telling you, that's why it's good I'm talking to you right now.
You're telling him how to be an asshole.
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to think that I'm fat and slobby and ugly and that I wouldn't have these problems if I was skinny?
I'm like, why aren't you mentioning what's this? Obviously, this knee is carrying all this extra weight on it. And then he just kind of shrugged and was like, yeah, sure, you could lose weight and it would probably bring you some relief, but it's not going to, it's not going to be, it's like I have patients that are just thin as rails.
Yeah,
pain
same problems. Oh, wow, someone else said the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's super awesome.
Well, because he's in reality. He's not, it's like, you could lose weight, but seriously, what's going to help this? Nothing. Especially the arthritis. Yoga.
I know. Well, he did say, he's like, sure. He acknowledged maybe losing weight. So I just sort of, I don't know. I guess
You know what I think we should do? I think you should do?
What?
I think you should go on a protocol. I'm serious. I'm not saying that to be like, get on a protocol.
I know you've been saying it, and I've been, it comes into my mind here and there, but I just feel like...
Why not? Face it. You've just been sitting here on pause for a year, not changing anything really. Go try to lose some weight and see if you have, let's use your wisdom. Let's see if you have active wisdom at this point. What's the risk of you going on the protocol? What's the risk, really, if you're just...
Well, the risk, I guess I just don't want to... Well, because I already know, I don't know.
What's the risk, really? If this is truly about this
I just don't, well, I guess the risk is I just don't want to go down that road.
So then you don't. The fact that you're aware of that, then that's a good sign. It's not a good sign if someone's like, yeah, let's do a round, and they're not aware of that road. You're aware that road exists.
I'm totally aware of it.
Yeah.
And, I feel like there's a point down the road that I could do it, and it could be interesting.
I don't agree. I think that you need to do something. You need to shit or get off the pot. So I, in my opinion, if you want my professional, subjective opinion, You should just get on around, and you know enough at this point. You've done it enough. I do not recommend you go on a diet. I do not recommend you do some stupid ass keto, because that's meant to be done permanently, and it's super crazy.
In a million years.
Yeah, it's that to me is way worse than the protocol, which is a 500 calorie protocol, because it's meant to be done permanently. This is not. The protocol is this medical hormonal procedure. You're only to eat this way for this period of time only. And then the intention is to go back into reality. So my opinion is, honestly, your biggest risk is that you get delight and happiness from the weight loss. That's the only risk.
Yeah.
Are you wise enough to separate yourself enough to go, hell no, I'm not doing that because I'm going to gain it all back?
It could be an interesting process. I think I would be able to just observe, like.
Well, that's where I'm at. I'm like, well, I don't.
I could just observe where I'm at and.
So do it. So do it. That's why I'm telling you. I've been like, I don't know, the last 3 times I've talked to you, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, you're just sitting in the same shit spot.
Obviously, the holidays and stuff. I just was like, it was too much of a pain.
Okay, well, let's get on the bandwagon with the rest of the fucking country. But.
Oh, God. Okay, well.
But there's a difference.
I don't know.
There's a difference. If you don't attach to the weight loss, just accept ahead of time, I'm not willing to diet when this is over. So that means the body might regain weight, but it's really not my business. It's an opportunity for the body to recover. If it recovers, that means it was really jonesing for it. If it doesn't, then imagine what that will do for your progress. What will that do for your progress if you go through the protocol, do an honest job, go back into reality, eating like a normal person, no crazy restrictions, and your body regains the weight? What are you going to do? What's that tell you?
I don't know. What does it tell me?
I need you to think. I want you to think. You need to answer this. Just think. I'm here for, I don't know.
If it regains the weight,
naturally.
If I regain it, then that means I was still, if I make myself gain, I don't know. It just means.
Let me rephrase this because you're confused.
Okay.
So you do a round. Let's say you get through 4 to 6 weeks. You follow it. You do the best you can. The body readjusts. And you transition off into the next phase. 3 weeks later, you're transitioning back into reality where you're a normal person eating like normal food. You're not dieting. You're not in food religion anymore. You're just living the way you are now. Imagine just eating the way you do now. Okay?
Well, I don't want to eat the way I do now.
Okay.
Relationship with food.
What are you doing? Why are you You're being. Okay, hold on.
It's very clear what I do. I am still not facing those feelings of anxiety or feelings of these moments that I hit and I don't face them over and over again.
Got it. Let's just not judge that.
Okay.
That's your reality. That's your truth. This is your truth of how you're functioning. It's the truth of your capacity. It's the truth of how you're coping. It's just the way it is. That's
right.
And every
time I think of the protocol, I'll think, just go on the protocol. And I go, no, I would rather learn how to face these feelings before I even try. I need to learn how to face this moment.
Why aren't you doing it? So what is the block for that? But hold on, let me finish my point and let's come back to this. Because we're going off on a tangent, which is great. This is a good tangent. But because I want you to have clarity around the decision too. I'm okay if you say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm okay either direction. I just want you to really know what the hell needs to be done at this point. Because it sounds cloudy to me. You sound like all cloudy, doing, like that.
Cloudy,
okay.
Right now,
so let's
coming out of this vortex I've been in.
So let's clarify. I'm gonna just help you get some clarity, so you can get your head on straight and get your bearings around everything. First, don't judge your current state of existence. It is the truth. To expect you to be better than this, that's wrong. The expectation's wrong.
Oh, God.
Do you see that? Because you're not functioning that way. You're not functioning the way you want. So there's something missing that makes it so that you can't. So you might have the expectation, I'm not going to eat when I'm this emotional. But what you're not taking into account is how intense the emotion is that needs coping through food and alcohol.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or pot, or whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
You need to cope. You don't feel like you can handle it yet.
Yeah.
So when you feel like I can handle this, or you face it even though you don't have the feeling you handle it, that's more realistic. Did you understand what I just said? At some point, you're either going to have the strength to face it, or you're going to have to face it without having the sense of strength. Which is actually more true than facing it with strength. Because how do you develop strength to face something?
Yeah.
You have to face it. So, you're not there yet. Why?
Yeah,
What?
that's really nailed the nail on the head.
So get over it.
Just to face how, because it's like, it is, they are intense feelings.
I know.
It's like, I do face them and live, but it's like, just when I sit down to eat something, it's like, I know that I hit that wall of being comfortable, then I head towards fullness. And it's like, it's portions. Like, why am I continuously making too big of a portion where I set myself up for this?
Well, because you don't want to feel deprived. Clearly, you don't want to feel deprived.
Yeah, it's like, or I'm just scared. Like, that's not enough of a portion, though. I need a bigger portion.
So where's that coming from? Is it from chronic dieting? I see this a lot with people who have extreme pressure to be thinner. And what that does is it creates kind of an extreme sense of need to deprive. And then from there is a sense of I'm not going to get enough, or I haven't gotten enough. It's almost like PTSD with food deprivation. Like you might have, dieting might give you a sense of PTSD. No, get enough. Don't ever feel that way. Make sense? Am I clear?
It just has a bigger role in my life than it needs.
It's pause.
To do.
Stop. Stop.
Me.
You're still saying it should be different than this. Well, what's the truth? What it should be or what it is?
What it is.
Yes. So I think that's where you're struggling. That would be my assumption from out here, Boise, Idaho. You down there in California.
Yeah.
I think your assumption is that you really believe you should be better than you are, and that's pressurizing things. Just like I should be dieting. I shouldn't be overeating. Well, you know what? Tell yourself the truth. Where are you really? What are you really dealing with here to where just making the assumption you should have this recovery occur, that's wrong. You should, there's a reality here.
Because I've had a taste of the total bliss of it, and I know I've had a taste of what a healthy relationship with food is.
I know, but it wasn't.
It's just how do I get back to that?
It was temporary.
Yeah.
Well, you know why?
I know.
Because you gave yourself a vacuum of, white space where you didn't have to care about your weight.
But guess what? It was also easier then, because it was like, first of all, I weighed a little less. I had a little less body pain. Like, it was sort of easier to just like, the stakes just keep getting higher, and pushing me and getting harder.
Notice how that makes no sense. Just why doesn't that make any sense whatsoever with your way of eating and how you're behaving? Makes no sense. Because if that was true, what you just said was true, would you be overeating?
Well, it's true that this knee has fucking thrown a monkey wrench in the whole thing. But I guess if I was really on solid footing, it wouldn't really have been able to, I guess.
What does it make sense for you to keep on overeating if you really think it's about your weight?
Well, or just my knee, it just worries me, it upsets me.
How does that help? So if that's true, does it make sense for you to be overeating?
No.
It doesn't make sense at all.
Well, couldn't it be like, it just ups the ante of everything?
Of what? Very specifically, what is it upping the ante of what?
Fear. just fear of like, this is my life now, and also just grief of like grieving my younger body. I still feel like I'm 18 in my head or 25 in my head or something.
Does that make any sense with overeating? Like, if that's true, does it make sense to overeat?
Yes, it never makes sense.
It doesn't make sense at all. Right? Because if it was true, it doesn't make sense to overeat. The overeating is like the opposite. It's like it's like, let's make the situation worse.
Yeah.
Based on that logic. So why would then, it sounds like, wouldn't you agree? Well, there's a step missing in there. There's an aspect here that is blocked out. That there's an equation, right? Clearly you have those emotions, you have these experiences, and then there's like a dark spot, and then there's overeating, which it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
What's missing from this?
Dark spot is rough, and something happens there.
Oh, yeah, it's called you need to diet. I should be dieting. I should be eating this much. I should be dating. The shaming, the diet shaming is in there. You forgot all that. Don't forget that.
Well, I can completely feel myself start going in and out of survival mode. Like, I feel it. Like, like my close friend, she, just dropped a bunch of weight and like through an insane set of circumstances. It was extreme, insane set of circumstances. But it's like all of a sudden I'm like looking at her going, oh my God, she's like shrunk down. And then suddenly I'm like feeling, well, what am I feeling? Inferior to her now? Or I feel
hey, that's progress because at least you're identifying that emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Well, I'm just looking at her going, wait. Yeah. Like, and then just feeling a little jealous that she has a spring in her step. She's all happy now, and she's just like, I feel so much better.
Okay.
Oh, I was just so miserable.
So does it make sense?
And I can just tell how happy she, and I'm like, oh, I know that feeling where you can move your body more free, you can get down and up better, and it just feels good.
You're on your narcissistic high of supremacy, and you're super self-centered, and you think you're better than everybody else. It feels so good.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? Okay, just again, you have all that feelings, and then the outcome is you overeating. Does that make any sense?
No.
Not at all. So what's missing in the equation to where overeating makes sense? Pressure to lose weight? Pressure to lose weight, pressure to diet, pressure. Well, that's over here on the left.
Pressure.
On the right is your overeating. There's something missing. Because when you pair those two equations together, it does not equate. It does make any sense. There's no logic or intelligence involved. It's like, so if you have all those feelings, why are you perpetually overeating? And you're gaining weight, which makes you feel worse. What the fuck? What you're missing in the equation is when you feel like this about your weight, there is a non-negotiable, it's not negotiable belief you have to lose the weight. And what does that come with?
Pressure.
To restrict your food, to eat perfectly, to do something different. And then now can you see how that equates to I'm going to overeat?
Because then I try to fight against that feeling and go, no, fuck you, I'm not restricting shit.
And you're overeating, and it just is like, feels like shit. Yeah. Can you see where now this makes sense? So my suggestion is for you to lose weight. I really think that's going to be the best thing for you in terms of your progress. You're sitting in your shit, and I really think you need to do something.
Yeah, it's true. And and that doesn't mean I'm going to I just don't like the notion of go ahead and do a round and be an asshole and gain it back and see how you're in all this pain again.
That might happen.
That'll humble you. It's like, I don't want to sign up for that. Who says that's how it's going to go? For all I know, it could go. I could get high for a minute and be like, that's so stupid. Look, I'm losing weight.
Right?
It's nothing.
I know. I'm like, why don't you?
That can help me. Like, it could go positive. Either way.
Okay, see, now you're getting it. At least you're going to get a sense of where you're at and what it's going to, in my opinion, and I think you're seeing it now, it's like shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Pressure. I think you need a little pressure right now
But I'm not gonna do a round, like, yes, there's a part of me that's, oh yeah, I can feel various emotions flooding for, different thoughts.
Yeah, so what happens if you get excited about the weight loss? Right? So where's your, so how are you gonna do this without that? What needs to come in here so that you stay distant from that outcome?
Well, I'm sure that, absolutely, I know that I'll have, like, fleeting moments of it. I would hope that...
Well, you catch it.
I'm just going to observe it all. I can just observe it all.
What happens if you get excited about the weight loss? Even just thinking about it. See, that's the only thing you'd need to go into this. You have enough wisdom. That's the thing. Let's get it to start working for you now.
Yeah.
Get it to turn on your wisdom. Bring that to the forefront of this. What happens if you get excited about the weight loss? Look at all your past rounds. What has happened? You become obsessive. You become paranoid.
And suddenly lose all my heart and my...
Well, you become paranoid about your weight.
Yeah, my consciousness just starts to drop down.
Yeah, but
which it's already doing anyway at times.
So I think what will happen if you do this, and this would be, it could be unrealistic to even hope that you get this, but that you'll recognize that you can't afford to even care about the outcome. You're going to let the body figure it out. If the body is in a position to where it is beneficial for the body's physiology to lose weight, it's going to lose it, and it will be very easy to keep it off. If it's not, it's going to easily come back without effort.
Mm-hmm.
It's like effortless weight gain because it's not physiologically, your brain, your body, your set point is what it is. So the protocol is an amazing medical treatment if it works, but there's no guarantee, right? So if you can go into it as okay, I'm sitting here feeling medically like shit. Well, do it as a medical treatment and open yourself up to the open-ended possibility that if you lose 20 pounds and gain 10 back, and that's easy for the body to manage, that's what the body's going to manage. Mm-hmm. So to me, what this is going to do for you is give you a reality check. You're getting into fantasy again. You're getting into like the self-loathing, like you're distorting. You're becoming distorted.
Yeah.
You need a reality check. Your whole feeling like shit about your weight is with the assumption that you should be so much thinner. Well, what if your body at this point, metabolically, it's not realistic for you? You're going to have to be anorexic. Make sense? You'll have to be, like, if you lose, let's just say you lose 40 pounds.
Oh, God. I'm not going to be able to stay on it that long.
I know, but just go there in your mind to experiencing a 40-pound weight loss. But what if in order for your body to maintain that fat loss, you have to go gluten-free, dairy-free, intermittent fast. You have to count everything. You have to know everything. You have to stay keto. What was it? Does that sound natural?
No, I'm not going to do any of that.
You got it. So then what if you eat like a normal human being and you function realistically and it's not anorexic, but it's not also binge eating and emotional eating, and you gain back 20 of that 40? But it's easy to maintain that loss. Mm-hmm. It's easy. It's effortless. It's just effortless. You see how that might open your mind a little bit to go, okay, my expectations in my head and the pressure that I'm putting on myself is coming from unrealistic ideas of what I think I need to be comfortable in my body.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are times I'm curious of what, how it would be to actually be like, walk into work and see the jelly beans and no, I can't have them. Like, I wonder what that would actually feel like, or if that'll freak me out, or if I'll be like, what do I find here? They're here, they'll be there in 3 months.
You'd have to do it today.
What?
Try it on your own. Just try it. Be like, you know what? Just try it on your own. Why do you got to have HCG in your body?
That's true. It's like, yeah, that's true. Because I'm always like, I can have anything I want. I can have anything I want.
Yeah, but underneath all that, by the way, is I shouldn't be eating that. I shouldn't be eating that. So no wonder you're gaining weight. Like have you ever heard any of those videos where I say you backed yourself into a corner?
I haven't been in a corner. I mean, because
you're gonna gain weight.
My weight has been the exact same. Like I was kind of like popping my collar. Like I was happy about that just a little bit, that I wasn't going up and down and all around. But then, as of like 6 weeks ago, this doctor is literally like, I don't want you exercising. He's like, nobody ever died from not exercising for a month, so just relax.
I like this doctor.
I know, because I'm like, please, I'm very active. I need to move. I walk dogs. I play with kids. And I'm like, today it's this gorgeous day. I would just float out the door and hike up running and talk to dogs and feel the air and the sun. And I can't, it's like, so I can't move, and I'm overeating the exact same amount that's maintained my weight. I haven't been on a scale. I'm not even going there, but I feel I put on a few. And I'm just like, I can't. I want to go out and do this shit. I can't do any, but whatever. I'm just going to go on a fucking walk.
Okay, I was just about to say, well, if it's really causing this type of emotional distress, go on a goddamn walk. Again, it's like
walk here and there, and I've been walking, but it's like I'm so slow walking, hobbling, that I barely cover any ground. But I can still go out there.
Yeah, especially if you enjoy the nature and the outside and the sun, and why wouldn't you do that?
I love it. It's just, you hike up this hill, and each step, my spirits go higher and higher. It's so beautiful, and hawks are circling, and it's sort of my happy place, and it's been it's gone for the last 6 weeks.
Okay, well, get off your ass and go do that. Just listen to your body. Don't it's like, what are you gonna feel?
I can't do the hill, but I can. There's another pretty little flat walk I know nearby that I can do. But still, it's like I don't want to do that. Like, I have to lose weight, so I need to walk. I'm just I'm in a corner. I'm so clusterfucked in my head.
Lessons learned. I mean, how'd you get here? Recognize that you truly have feelings of pressure to lose weight, and you're pissed, and
there's no way I've accepted that this is how I'm getting. It's always this feeling of, but I'm trying to tell myself, learn how to deal with these feelings, and that'll help your eating, and you'll lose weight. I think that's kind of, because that is what's happened in the past when I would recover, so it's really hard for me to just really say,
that doesn't sound like recovery to me at all. It sounds like a diet.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That's where the problem is. I haven't.
It's less pressurized. It's not all or nothing. It's less pressurized. You can say it's more realistic. But here we are, because you still haven't really accepted this. So it's like, it's always going to return. It's just returned. You just went through another loop of the same thing. And
it was hard. There was time, like I just had, 2 really great weeks with family and friends, and I just give like everything of my heart and my soul to these events, and working with the kids and putting on lip syncs and costumes and gifts for everyone, and I love it. Like, I super creative stuff and posters, and I just go totally over the top with everything, and I love it, and everyone loves it. It just warms my, it's coming from a much more joyful place. It's not like I need something from people, and so it was a lot of great fun, but it was like I realized, I was like, okay, my inner life is a little bit dark.
How much of that darkness comes from your hatred of your body?
Yeah, and I would know, and it was like we got to the beach house, and it was like the day we got there, like my knee was pretty good in St. Louis, like I, was limp, but it wasn't painful. I did get some great walking in, and it wasn't hurting. I was happy. But then at the minute we got to the beach house, all of a sudden it's just like this new weird pain on the side happened, and it's this huge house, and I'm trying to hang, decorations, and I'm in 2 dance numbers, and I'm just like, I would just go in my room every now and then, I'd be doing something, and all of a sudden I would just tears, I would just be like, motherfucker, stop, why is it hurting right, knock it off, I have shit to do, and then I would just, I was kind of just struggling up and down in these private moments. And I was just...
You've wasted so much of your life hating your body. Seriously, think about how much energy, thoughts, and just devotion you've had. You've been a very devoted hater.
I know.
I mean, what a waste.
And I feel bad, I keep going, Kristen, you're overfeeding the fish. It's sort of like that, you're I'm doing this to myself. I keep, you know, that, I don't know if you know that book, A Fish Out of Water, where the little boy gets this fish, and the fish keeps wanting more food. He keeps feeding it till it gets bigger and bigger, and it's like, and then he has to put it in the family swimming pool, and then it just overflows that, and then because the guy that sold him the fish told him, don't overfeed this fish. Oh, I won't. And then he keeps overfeeding it, so then he has to call the guy back, like, fuck, I did, I overfed the fish. And then the guy's like, oh shit. So he shows up with like a little mysterious suitcase, and then he dives in the pool and like does something, and the fish goes back to the regular size. It's this really weird, cool kids book. But I keep feeling like I'm that kid that's just like keeps overfeeding the fish and then getting upset that the fish gets bigger. It's just
totally. That sounds about right. and it's a lot of the overfeeding. You have to look at why that's there. Why aren't you willing to stop?
And why it's like that. I know the exact moment. Like I'll sit down with food and I'll go, oh, I put too much food on this plate. I'll start to eat the food. And it's very soon I'll feel the feeling, well, no, I want to finish this. But it's so good.
Well, that's the truth of where you're at.
Until I'm sick, but I'm like, I'm full, quote unquote.
Well, so that feeling is more important to you than the fullness and the effects of the fullness. I mean, that's the truth.
And in a lot of yes, that is the truth.
So you need to deal with that, because if you don't complain about your weight.
Or at night, you know, I noticed that a lot of, if I'm left on my own accord during the day doing shit around here, I barely eat anything because I don't care. I'm not thinking about it. But it's like then nightfall comes, or I come home from work and it's night, and it's like it's like I'm almost scared. Like I may be lonely, but I'm also more scared loneliness is gonna come, or it's just facing the night. This wall of anxiety will come in, so then I'll like, okay, I'll just take a little puff of pot, and I'll be like, you're 52 years old. Like, do you really need to like take a puff of pot at night? Like,
well, you're clearly not facing your beliefs that create those underlying anxieties. You're not facing any of it. You're just trying to avoid it. So accept that's the truth. One, let's just accept it. That's where you're at. Yeah. Don't judge it. It's the truth of what we're working with. What would be worse is to have some high expectation that's out of range. That's wrong. The expectation that you should be different than that is wrong. Okay? You need to work. Should be different. I know. And then you just
doing this for a year, working hard. I should be able to face
you haven't. So stop saying you should, because you don't even know what it's taking yet. You haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
So give yourself some compassion. At some point, you're gonna need to face it. At some point, it's gonna feel shitty. It's gonna feel shitty whether you do it today, or the shittiness is gonna be there whether you do it in a year from now. Maybe that's the lesson. Is like, how much longer can I postpone what I have to do? It's scary. So it's kind of like, you know, if you're scared to go like cliff jump, you can either just do it or you can wait until a year from now and try it again. Either way, what it's going to feel to jump off that cliff is going to feel like terror. It's terror. When you think of it like that too, the feeling of terror, and you have a sense of what that feeling is, it's radical. It's intense. Mm-hmm. It's understandable why you would smoke pot, why you would overeat, why you would do what you're doing impulsively. The impulses to escape it should make sense to you, right?
Yeah, they do.
So why aren't you taking that into account when you create some expectation around how you should be recovering? You know, I can sit here and say, here's what you need to do. I'm not going to sit here and say, and here's how bad it's going to be. I mean, I can to some degree, but I can't get you to face it. I cannot make you do it. That has to come from you. That's such an internal like fire that has to burn. And it's like walking on the coals, dude. I can't push you on to do it. I can't, and I'm not certainly going to judge you. I know what it took for me to do it, and it was so bad. It had to get so bad for me that I was suicidal. That's what it took for me to finally face the terror. Because to me, it was now like, it was beneficial to not face it. But the mechanisms and the coping that I used to not face it got so horrible to the point where they were worse than the terror I was afraid of. That might have to happen for you. You know? The physical consequences you're living with because you're overeating, like, that's not bad enough yet for you.
Sure, I think just that, obviously I've faced some things and the overeating has declined, but it's like I'm at this,
sounds like you're distributing your coping. You're still distributing it around. Yeah. So it's just moving around, like.
Or I almost really do feel like, things have been stripped away, and it's like now I'm really like behind the curtain. Like this is where the shit is. Like these feelings are where the shit is. This is what everything is stemmed from, is trying to run from these feelings. And
yeah, do you feel like maybe making something an enemy has been an escape for you? Like kind of drama type of stuff. Like just always having an enemy or blame or, because I think the hatred you have of your body to me is a way of escaping. Blaming. I'm going to blame this. That's why I'm miserable, because my knee hurts.
Or just fear.
It's like not taking responsibility for it, right? There's a lot of ways people escape, and blame is one of them. Remember that victim role? You're just lying to yourself because you're refusing to face the underlying issue. So let's lie and say it's something else. And then let's catastrophize it so that it makes sense for why you shouldn't face it, That's one mechanism. That's something I hear from you consistently, right? So strip that away. Strip it away, right? Let's face what's underneath this. And when you face it, we're not fighting it. You're surrendering to it. If you surrender to whatever that is, that remember you like the anxiety at night, if you refuse to cope, don't let yourself escape it. Actually face it, look at it, open eyes, breathe it into your lungs, let it take over your body, even though it's going to tell you suck and you're going to die, no one's going to love you, you're going to be alone, and all those threats that come up. If you don't escape it, you say, okay, all right, okay, what next? What next? Okay, what's next? So you just keep on accepting what the threats are. You might be doing that, but then there comes one threat and you're like, okay, hell no, I'm not going to face that one.
Or it's like, you just deserve, what's wrong with, it's like I need to just weave a little haze around me just to drift off. It's
right.
Like, okay, to take the edge off, like you kicked ass all day, you're living, like you're just,
You deserve not to face it. You deserve, so
you deserve it.
Yeah, so you need to get to where you're like, oh my God, I'm perpetuating this. I'm prolonging the suffering. That's how I'm prolonging this. This is how I've been here for a year trying to get through this. I've refused to face what makes me feel vulnerable. It's scary. It is scary. Again, if you actually quantify how scary it is, you could look at your behavior and go, oh, well, no, duh. Of course, I'm going to try to escape that. That's intense. Something is intense in there, and you need to have some compassion for yourself. What you're dealing with is intense. And it's foolish to expect that you should be recovered when you still haven't faced it fully and completely. You're not going to recover from how you cope and escape. If you haven't faced it, you're going to have to cope and escape until the moment you do face it. Because your coping and escaping is a way for you not to face it. Have compassion for that. That's what we're working with. All these expectations are just like, they're stupid. You'd have to face this first,
And it's just with, this last 6 weeks dealing with some new physical challenges. It's like,
yeah, to me, I'm allowed
to grieve, or it doesn't always mean, because I'll just be like almost like I'm not allowed to even grieve or be upset. Like, no, you're being a victim, Kristen. Don't be a victim. Like,
it's true.
There's a line between being a victim and just grief. Like, yeah, this is like, I'll lay in bed and I'll just be like, just to get up and have my foot hit the ground and then hold on onto the wall just to go pee. Like, and it's like, do I want? It's just, it's exhausting. I'm allowed to just go. This is challenging. Of course, this is a challenge, and you can do it. It's like I have all this pressure on myself, like I'm supposed to just be a soldier with all this.
Yeah, see, that's how it comes across when you're trying to force that. You haven't really recovered. You're trying to force a recovery. It doesn't. Yeah, and then you start to feel victimized by the recovery. So that what you just said was total victim positionality around what recovery feels like. You seriously, you went right there again. Poor you, because you don't get to feel sorry for yourself. The thing is, you're trying to force a recovery where you're nowhere close. You are not facing your problems. Face them. Face it. Is feeling sorry for yourself facing?
Isn't there like, sometimes I'll feel like a feeling that doesn't feel like victimization. It'll just feel like sad, grief, kind of. Like,
well, sad is different. Sad is different. And
I'll just feel like I want my old me back. I want my body back from 10 years ago where I could move. And, like, and I didn't even mention that when we went to St. Louis, my mom is...
Yeah, hold on a second. Pause a second. What you just said... You'll never recover with that thought. Never, ever recover. You will always stay where you're at with that type of thinking.
What did I say?
But shouldn't I just want my old knee back?
Or isn't it okay to want my old knee back?
No. Unless you want to suffer. You can keep on suffering. Or you can just accept that knee is not existent. You have an injury. Accept you're injured. Why do you have to reject your injury? It's the truth. You can either lie to yourself or you can tell yourself the truth. I'm injured. Should I sit here and feel sorry for myself? No, I'm not going to enable this shit.
Well, I don't know when, is the injury going to get fixed? How long is it going to happen?
But you do know you should feel sorry for yourself. How is that going to fix anything? Is that fixing anything? What do you get out of that? What do you get out of that to where you want to feel sorry for yourself? What does it do? I would never recommend someone feel sorry for themselves. Ever.
Yeah.
It's just, first of all, it's so self-centered. You're playing God. You're refusing to accept reality. And the longer you do that, the more you're going to suffer. So, okay. Or you can just accept you injured your knee. That why can't you be patient? Why do you gotta feel like a victim all the time?
Yeah.
Grief is like saying, I'm accepting this as permanent. And it doesn't make sense for me to feel sorry for myself. It's like letting the past go. So that's opposite of what you're saying. But I want the past to be here. Well, isn't grief letting the past go? Big difference.
Yeah,
big difference. I know. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, you should feel sorry for yourself. That's grieving. Bullshit. You need to face that. That right there. You're negotiating for your asshole suffering. You want to suffer some more.
Or it's just this dark.
You like it. There's something you get out of it. You get something out of blaming your body. You have like a very hateful relationship with your body. You fucking hate it. It feels good to blame it for your problems, doesn't it? You get off on it, and I don't think until you stop, you're not going to get better. You keep on going back to, I hate my body. My body's the problem. Poor me. My body's my persecutor. I'm the victim. My body sucks. Why? What do you get out of that? What do you get out of it? How's it working? You get to feel like shit. You get to feel sorry for yourself. What does that do for you? That's not grief. So you need to be very clear about that.
Okay.
Grief is letting the past go. You're way far away from that.
Yeah. Yes,
That's the truth. Let's not judge it.
Okay.
But do not try to be all like, oh, hell no. This is why you paid me. That is a bunch of bullshit. You just shit out of your mouth. Bleh, shit.
Oh, good. I'm glad I did that.
You need to listen to yourself and recognize you're just going through and doing the same thing you always do. And what does it get you? You need to get sick of yourself.
Yeah.
Why can't I grieve? Well, because it doesn't serve you. You became a victim of a recovery approach. I should feel sorry for myself.
Or it's just this dark shadow of like menace that's like casting itself over me slowly, like.
And let it happen. Let it happen. What's wrong with that?
I guess. Well, I had this experience of, in the airport with my mom, traveling with my mom, and she's basically, she has trouble walking, and I had my knee thing, and she was getting a wheelchair, so she's like, I'm like, get me one, like, let's just do it. So why am I gonna like be limping and dragging, pulling my bags while she's wheeling ahead of me, So we're like, so my point is, I had the experience of being in a wheelchair, being pushed through an airport, and I was like, oh hell no, like it was so weird, but I know that it was also like good for me. It was amazing. But the gamut of emotions of like feeling embarrassed, feeling separate from society. I'm being, people hardly seeing me, and like.
Isn't that great? I would love that.
I felt like I was falling into this pit of like shit. It was just the sickest. Like, this is it. You're this obese, cripple. You're not in the, I was just observing all this shit. And then I was thinking of you, and I was just kind of like, then I would chuckle, and then I would be mortified. I went through all these emotions. And then it was and I'm like, oh my God, I'm outside of society. And so then all of a sudden I looked over at some point and saw like the 5 people in wheelchairs in the waiting area. And they were just like eating peanuts and chatting and laughing and having a good time. And I was like, oh, like the wheelchair club, maybe it ain't all bad.
No, why would they be so abusive to themselves when it's the truth?
Yeah.
Why? So are you really a lower human being piece of shit? Really? Is this how you define people like that?
I hated not feeling like it was just I didn't fucking, I was like, I do not want this. Like, I want to be able to walk and do my own thing.
Okay, but that's fine and all, but you're shaming yourself. That's different than my ego. Yeah, so that yeah, so try not to convince yourself you weren't a piece of shit douchebag to yourself in that moment. You were. It's not about walking or not walking. It's you really think you're defined as a horrible person because of that. That right there is your narcissism, and you get to experience the karma of that type of shaming. Now you get to feel it.
I never really shame people in a wheelchair, but I guess
yes, you do. Yes, you do. Look at how you talk to yourself.
Yeah, I literally right now have my hands around my throat. Like, that was, I just felt these dark. How do you? Nowhere, it just started choking.
Yeah, you like, piece of shit. You are a horrible person, and you are a worthless. Your life isn't even worth being here because you're in a wheelchair. You piece of utter shit.
I was like, what has happened? So Miss Sassy Pants is now just a fat ass.
Right? Yeah, just tell the truth. And that means you're worthless. Your life and the life that body's giving you shouldn't even be here.
And your life is just like, it's just over.
Yeah,
like,
you should just die. Done. There's no point.
And seriously.
Yeah.
And like, even I couldn't. Like,
so why aren't you? So, but the difference, the problem here is you believe that. That's the problem. You actually believe that. That's the problem. So if you believe that,
can you believe it like partially?
Well, if you believe that, okay, because it is a choice that you believe that's credible and it's actual like truth. That's what that is. How does it feel? Yeah, so there's your karma. That's what happens when you believe that type of thing.
It's just like the walls closing in.
Yeah, that's what you get. Yeah, yes, that's what you get. Yeah. So, have you really, like, that's what you're dealing with. You still believe those things. You can convince yourself, and that might be what you've been trying to do is, I'm going to convince myself, I'm going to be positive, there's nothing wrong with my body positivity. But in the back of your mind, you really believe this shit is so bad that it makes you a terrible person, that it defines you as a person, it defines your worth as a human being. And that's underlying all of this. So you can see why the walls close in and why you have this darkness that shows up and why you need to escape it.
Yeah.
And why food is your escape. That makes sense to me, because the only way to fix it is deprive yourself. So that primitive center of the brain gets triggered with the idea that I shouldn't eat. That's what's underlying my life is worthless because of my weight and all the things that come with it. That this is plain and simple. It's like, here it is. Here we are. That feeling arises because you believe your weight and size and ailments are symbolic of your worthlessness. You're derogatory to yourself because of it. That gives no credit to your essence, to your expression as a human. None of that is worth anything to you.
True.
To you. I'm talking to you. And you have to see that, recognize the truth, and make a choice. Because if to you, body image is far more influential to life than you're just driving yourself miserable. This is miserable. You spent a lot of money to be miserable, having to accept a body you loathe. You hate it. It is the source of all of your blame. Can you see why you're just stuck here?
Well, I mean, I guess it's true that I feel like that losing weight would help.
So then let's do that. Go.
Consciously of saying, I'm going to deprive, but I can.
It's inherent.
In there, so it's in there.
It's inherent.
Continuously needing to
it's inherent.
Having these issues with food.
It's inherent. I mean, I'm just going to keep on repeating myself. You can keep on. You cannot feel ashamed about your biggerness without inherently having pressure to restrict food. You cannot separate the two.
Yeah.
It's built in. There's something wrong with the body, and it's not just wrong with the body, and that it's wrong with the body, and that means I'm a bad person, and everybody else thinks I'm a bad person because you believe you're a bad person. You would not have that emotional response to it if you didn't believe it's true. You believe it's true. You haven't faced it yet to dismantle the belief. If you'd actually face and not try to escape it, make it permanent. What if this is permanent? Does it make sense to shame yourself? The only reason the shame is coming in is because you think you can fix your weight.
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
I know. So,
okay, so can we say that my homework, can I have homework? I know you don't usually give homework. But
yeah, of course.
Homework that at least between now and the next time I talk to you, at least one motherfucking time, I will sit and face this. If it means I come home stressed and want to take a
and feel sorry for yourself. Hold on, before you go there, you feel sorry for yourself. Just keep that in mind. So before and then you're going to go, aren't I allowed to have grief? Don't forget all that language that you just
That I just one time, whether it be that I fucking push the plate of food away and sit there and torture, or that I
you sit in it.
Turn the TV off, turn everything off, and just sit on my couch and go, okay, what is this that I'm running for? My homework is one motherfucking time I have to do it. And then report into you.
Okay.
Can we sit?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna.
I
just want you to know that I've been suggesting that now for I don't know a year.
But that I need to actually be accountable and
Okay, so you got I don't know what's today, Friday. You'll probably have it today. You'll probably have it multiple times today. So you're not allowed to feel sorry for yourself, and then feel sorry that you can't feel sorry for yourself. Okay. You are not allowed to blame anybody, and you're not allowed to escape what you're afraid of. Because really, if you think about the derogatory viewpoints that's coming out of your mind, which is really just brainwashing, that derogatory viewpoint is telling you to escape it.
Yeah.
Don't accept it, fix it, change it. And this is why, you piece of shit, you're a loser. you should change this, right? That's really wouldn't you agree? Every derogatory threat that comes up is an effort to change it. It's like trying to motivate yourself by shaming yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
That's so last generation, man.
It's derogatory.
Let's just shame the hell out of people.
Or just these panic, like, you're so fucked. You're so fucked. Like, are you even, like, you know, it's the walls are closing in. Like, you're never going to have fun again. You're never going to hike again.
Yeah, all that is motivation.
You're never going to get to do the fun thing. You know, like, I couldn't go on this bike ride.
Yeah, what's the point of all that? What's the point? What's the essence of the reason behind all of the derogatory shaming? What's the point?
I guess to try to motivate me
to change
something.
Change it.
Yeah.
So what
I'll go, well, I can't change it. I already tried that. I'm powerless. And it just goes around.
Yeah, I just feel sorry for myself. I should smoke some pot.
Okay, so I'm going to have one thing of doing that, and I am going to look into, I'm going to go see if, like, the stupid HCG drops are on sale, or just start.
Hold on. Hold your thought on that. Just hold your thought on that. I would, if you're aware you can do this now, do it now.
Okay.
And then let's talk. So why don't we talk in, I don't know, 3 or 4 days? You want to do that?
Okay, after I tried it and face shit a few times and just see how I do?
Yeah, accept it.
Or I'm
so every threat that comes up, you're to say, I accept that. If that's the worst thing, and you have to really open yourself up to look at it and question it. Am I really a bad person because of this? So you start to actually question the threat. Am I really worthy of this? Like, start questioning it instead of just believing what it's saying. Like, really question the validity of the threat. So you get processed while the threat comes up. Question its validity. Is it true? Is that threat true? Because what's happening is you're just saying, it's true! It's true!
Sometimes I'll be like, it's not true. Why are you even fucking here? You know, like, fuck you.
Because you still believe it. That's the problem.
It still has power over me.
Yeah, because you still believe it. You might intellectually say that's not true, but your heart believes that's true. That's true.
Yeah, and nothing I do is good enough. It's like, as long as I'm not, you know, a little more physically ideal, nothing I do is good enough.
Yeah, and your body is the worst thing on the planet.
And then I just continue to, like, abuse it. It just continues to work for me the best it can.
Oh, yeah, it has done a lot. It's still doing it. It's still kicking ass, and all you can think about is how horrible it is, and how I just want my old knee back, even though you hated your old knee, too.
And it's true about be patient. Like, that stands out. Like what you said, like, why can't you just be patient? It's like, it's true. Why can't I be just okay, this is interesting. Let's see what happens. We'll accept what comes, instead of like, it's over. It's so over. You never get to do your hike again. That meant so much to you, and also help keep weight off.
That's right, and also keep it up. Exactly.
It's like, oh my god.
So you just are afraid to face it. You're just super afraid to face it. And so, again, no wonder. It's okay. That's okay. I don't want you to feel bad. It really is, what is it going to take for you to choose to face it? You. And just let the threats happen. Basically, you're going to say, yes, I would rather, if it means freedom from having to constantly escape, which is really what your suffering is.
Yeah.
Is it really that bad to be in a wheelchair forever? Really? Yes, you see what I mean? Question that. You have to actually look at what would life be like if I had to be in a wheelchair forever. It would be kind of fun, and it would totally get rid of all this bullshit. You'd have a whole new life of exploration around how to have joy in a wheelchair. It'd be pretty exciting.
God, I really don't want that.
Oh my God, did you not hear what I said?
Yeah.
It's so true, and you're like, I don't want it. What would you rather have? Your misery? To me, it's like, you should get to a place where you would rather be physically disabled than psychologically disabled and miserable. And disabled anyways.
That's true.
I know. So listen to yourself. Just listen. Here, like the fact I just gave you an out and you're like, oh, I don't want that. Okay.
Well, it also helps that, it is. I like hearing you say too that it is intense what I'm facing, and
yes.
so it is. These are very intense feelings. I'm not just an insane piece of shit for not wanting to face them. It is intense.
It's intense, and underneath, it's going to feel like death. It is going to, trust me. When I talk to you again, you're going to go, Robin, it felt like I was going to die, and I'm going to go, right? It's true.
That's just to be validated that I'm not totally insane and that I have the courage. I just have to keep digging deep and find the courage
and do nothing. And that's it. You do nothing. You've always done something. Don't do anything. Stop doing. Isn't the doing what makes you miserable? It's miserable. Yeah. Even if it's saying for me, that's doing something. Don't do anything. Just let it happen. Let it happen. And it's going to feel real and it's going to feel permanent. I'm just giving you forewarning. Like, just expect this. It's going to feel real and it's going to feel permanent. Underneath that, it's going to feel like you are going to die because all of this is connected to that part of the brain. You can either keep continuing to live the way you do or you can face it for the first time ever. Okay. And trust me, what did it take for me to face it? Oh, trust me, it was like the fact that I can kind of see what you're doing. I've been here. I've done this before. Yes, I get it. I get it. I mean, I felt so sorry for myself. I'd rather kill myself. That's how sorry I felt for myself. Yeah. So it's not like I didn't feel sorry for myself. I was really like, poor me. I might as well just die. Okay? So I'm not being all like, oh, look at you. I can never be on my knees again. You get my point? I'm like, hey, don't assume I'm over here saying, oh, look at you feeling sorry. Yes, you're going to feel sorry for yourself, but let me tell you something. You'll never escape with that because that's a way to, or you'll never recover because that's a way to escape. Yeah. And you got to get pissed about it and say, I'm done feeling sorry for myself. Because if I am not willing to change, I need to accept misery. I need to accept everything I'm doing and stop judging myself for it. That's a better situation is just say, I'm not ready to face this, Robin. You know what I would say? That's a great thing to be aware of because at least you're not going to sit back and expect change with no change. Just being aware, I'm not ready to change this, Robin. That's a better situation. Because then we work with that. That's why I'm like, okay, let's just do a round. That's where that comes from. Is the fact that I'm aware you're not ready to do this. You haven't been ready to do it. Maybe you are now. I don't know. Yeah. We might give you this assignment and then coming out of it, you're going to go, I can't do it. From there, we say, okay, so what can we do that you can do? What can you do? Yeah. We work from there. All right, I'll give it a whirl. So let me tell you real quick and then we'll go. Okay. What this is going to take is you getting sick of your own shit. You have to get sick of it. Yeah. I had to be like, I'm not going to let myself feel sorry for myself. I either do this or I kill myself. So if I recover and I get free from this hell I'm in, why would I complain? What, because I'm fat? I'd rather be fat than be in hell. There's that negotiation around hell or fatness, hell or isolation, hell or, the threat. Whatever the threat is, it's continued suffering or that threat. Continued suffering or that threat. For me, it was bad enough that continuing to suffer was worse than everything that came up. Or equal. So I might as well face the pain that I was afraid of. So in your case, you may not be suffering enough yet. And don't judge that. God. So we can sit here and say, you're going to face it. Yay. You know what? You're going to do what you can. You're going to do what you can and what you're aware of. That's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. What I want you to stop doing is holding yourself to recovery when you're not there. Just stop. You're doing what you can with what you got. So let's do that.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm
I'm
clear.
gonna do what I can with what I got. No, it's just